What's up, folks? David Soto Jr. here, and this is the David Soto Jr. podcast. What's up, folks? Welcome to episode 60 of the David Soto Jr. podcast. I'm your host, David Soto Jr. I just was about to upload this episode, and I thought to myself, let me press play, see how good I sound. Well, I didn't sound good at all. At all. I was having some difficulties with recording this morning, and I thought I fixed it, and so I made my recording, and then the last minute I checked it, and it was terrible. The audio was terrible. So I am re-recording this podcast episode. It's not annoying at all. Actually, I'm lying. It's completely annoying. The thing is, I noticed is that I can, it'll be better because I practiced the whole thing before. So, whatevs. Let's get started. What I want to talk about today is this whole Donald Trump thing being banned from Facebook. And I have to say that as far as politics go, I was kind of raised, or kind of was kind of conservative. I since the first few elections that I was eligible to vote in, I voted Republican. I voted for Bob Dole and George Bush, and I guess I was kind of a conservative, and I don't know, it was just easy to be a insensitive asshole to people, to tell you the truth. Also, I was in the military for 23 years, and very few libs, you'll find very few libs that are gung-ho or patriotic enough to join the military and stay in for 23 years. And then to be in the National Guard in the Midwest is another place where you basically, where I was ended my career. It was my point is that for a long time I thought being a conservative, being a capitalist, being a Republican was the right way to go. Then I went to Iraq for a year, and I was unable to vote because it was short notice. I didn't have time. I had no idea I was going to be going until 2 weeks before, and I didn't have time to file for absentee ballot. It was probably too late anyways. I don't know. So I missed that election, and I didn't vote again for another 20 years or something. 16 years, 20 years, 2004, 16 years. And for the first time I voted Democrat. What does that make me? I don't know. In maybe I can't be defined, but I have been middle. I think maybe I'm just middle of the road. But I have been both a gun-toting American, as well as I have been a van-living hippie, barefoot hippie American. I don't know. I don't know what you want. What side am I on? I don't know. And I've been leaning towards the left over the past few years, but there's still some things that I maybe see. Say I'm for the troops, but not for the war. I support police, but don't support police brutality. I just don't know how I can be defined. All that being said, is one of the things that I've caught myself saying in the past is, If you don't like what a job pays, then go work somewhere else. And that sounds kind of leaning towards the right. That sounds kind of conservative, right? You don't like minimum wage, don't work for minimum wage. Now I'm learning, all right? New information is being presented to me. I'm learning that people take minimum wage jobs probably because it's all that they can get. It's all they're qualified for. Would they like to get the pay of a 30 years worth of experience in heating and air conditioning? Would they like to make that money? I'm sure. But it took me 30 years of working in one field in order to get paid what I get paid. And I had to start somewhere. Luckily, I started in the military. But do people with no skills or education, do they have that option? I'm thinking that they don't, right? And they have to take these minimum wage jobs. So for me to say, if you don't like it, go somewhere else, seems pretty like a dick thing to say, an insensitive dick thing to say. That being said, this is the mentality of the right. This is the things that this is up there, right? This is some of the things that they say. I have been an employer, and I charged my hourly rate at one time. I bumped it up to $65 an hour, I think, which is still too low. I learned a lot by having my rate undercutting everybody and lowering my labor rate. That's dumb. Don't ever do that. But when employees, I didn't hide anything. I was pretty transparent about my expenses. My books were open. I didn't hide anything. So when my employees knew what they made per hour compared to what I charge per hour, I don't 100% remember exactly, but I think it came up. And we had a meeting, and I told them that if you don't like how I'm running this business, feel free to go out there and start your own. But it's hard, right? It's hard to start your own business. It's hard to be out there. There's things and hoops you have to jump through and all this. Most people aren't going to do it. Most people aren't going to try. But this is America, right? And this is what we tell people. You don't like it, go somewhere else. If you don't, why is my mouse doesn't work? Why is my mouse not working sometimes? We take this mentality that we have in the United States, and instead of showing care and being caring for people and empathetic, we tell them, go somewhere else. If you don't like your neighborhood, move. If you don't like pork, eat beef. If you don't like your boyfriend, find another one. Find a girlfriend. Shit. If you don't like the children's books out there, write your own. If you don't like a business because of their practices, go somewhere else. If you don't like that there isn't a product out there that meets your expectations or your needs, then create one. And this is where we start to get into, if you don't like how a company does business, then, or how your company does business, then start your own. Start your own, right? Is this all the same mentality? Is this the people who say, get over it, Snowflake, or fuck your feelings? They're also the ones that say, start your own business, go somewhere else, right? I'm pretty sure. That's why when I look at myself and saying that, I look at it as with some residual conservative thoughts and feelings when I said start your own. But I'm sure there's a consensus, right? The mentality of the people who say stuff like "get over it, Snowflake" are also the ones that say, if you don't want to work a minimum wage job, go somewhere else. If you don't like the way someone is doing something, start your own. So to these people, I say, if you don't like the platform in which the rules of the platform in which you spew hate and rally the troops to start an insurrection, if you don't like the rules of this platform, if you don't like that they banned you or they kicked you off, then you start your own. Start your own platform. Now, right away, people want to say that this is censorship, right? But it's not censorship. Censorship refers to public, right? It refers to if you want to speak publicly and the government tells you not to say certain things, or they mute you, or they prevent you from saying what you want to say, that's the government's not allowed to do that. That's freedom of speech. If a private company doesn't want you on their platform, they have a right to say, get the fuck out of here, right? They have a right to tell you, we don't want you here. Just like a bakery in Colorado has the right to not make a cake for two men who want to get married, because it's their right. It's also the right of Facebook to say, these are our rules, you broke them, see ya, you can't be here. That's not censorship. Okay, I came across a good analogy last time I recorded, and it was so good, but it was all like improvised. It just, I got passionate, and it just sucks that doesn't happen. That recording is shit. A lot of profanity in this episode. So if you don't like Facebook's rules, you don't like this social media platform rules, this application's rules, start your own. And I'm telling you, you ultra conservative pieces of shits that are right, as soon as I start cussing people out, my authority is, or my I forgot what it's called. Integrity. No. Anyways, if you don't like Facebook's rules, then start your own platform. It's just that simple. Design it, build it, distribute it, host it on your own server, monitor it for security breaches, put out the code upgrades every now and then. Do all of this work. Market it, get it on everybody's phone, do everything that has to be done. It's simple, right? This is America. We can do anything. It's the land of opportunity. Anything is possible, right? But why won't these people, instead of being butthurt and crying about it, why don't they just start their own? This is their own advice, right? Why don't they start their own? Like I mentioned earlier, it's hard. If starting an equivalent to Facebook or a social media platform seems out of your capabilities, If it seems like financially it would take its toll on you, financially you can't afford it, if it seems like it's unfair that you have to go out there and start your own, or if it seems like the system is set up for you not to succeed in this, there's a lot that needs to be done in order for you to, you can't just have an idea to start a social media app. There's a long process in order to do it. One thing is you have to know what the fuck you're doing. You have to know how to do it. And then you might need help. And those resources, how do you code? Do you know how to code? No. You have to hire somebody. Do you know how to market it? No. You have to hire somebody. You need resources in order to help this, in order to do this. And if all of this seems out of your ability, if it just seems like it's a challenge that you cannot do, that's why you would rather use Facebook. That's why you would rather use one that's already in existence, because creating one yourself seems hard. It seems like it's impossible, like something you cannot do successfully. Now you know what it feels like, right? Now you know what it feels like to be poor, to be lower middle class, to be a person of color, to be a member of the LGBTQ community, or to be a woman. The system is not set up for these people to be successful. The system is unfair. The system is hard. Not that it can't be done. It can be done, but it's hard. And this is what it feels like to be a person of color, to be a minority, right? And minority is anyone who's not white, middle-aged male, straight white, middle-aged male. Everyone else is the minority. And when you're not, so what's happening is these white, middle-aged, straight males, quote unquote straight, are feeling what it's like to be a minority. I will include everyone who's not that. And they don't like it. They don't like it. Now, if Facebook was to kick off a loud, obnoxious black person, or a loud, obnoxious queer or gay person, or a loud, obnoxious woman, would they call it censorship? Would they say, or wouldn't they say, hey, those are the rules, you broke them, why don't you just follow the rules, and next time and this won't happen to you? As soon as this happened to them, as soon as they get a sense of what it's like to be a person of color, to be LGBTQ, to be a woman, to be poor, as soon as they're mistreated, or rather, not mistreated, but as soon as they're not treated like kings, all hell breaks loose. This is offensive. This is unconstitutional. This is blah, 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 blah. Listen, this is how you treat everyone else, right? This is how you treat everyone else, and you get a hint of it, and it's unconstitutional. Listen, this is an example of somebody taking their toy and leaving, right? This is not unconstitutional. This is not censorship. This is somebody saying, you're being a dick, so I'm taking my thing. That's mine. I let you play with it, and you ended up being a dick. So I'm taking my thing, and I'm leaving. Or better yet, this is my house. You get the fuck out of here. You leave. This is what these people are used to telling others, right? You don't like it here, leave. But as soon as that gets said to them, all hell breaks loose. So to the ultra conservative, right winged, capitalist people who are butthurt by Facebook banning Donald Trump, I have some advice. Get over it, Snowflake. And if you don't like it, start your own. That's it. Folks, this isn't too bad of a second recording. I got to, you know what, if I could record twice each time, I would, because it makes the second recording a little bit condensed. I leave out a lot of blah, blah, blah. And my voice is better because I've been up a few more hours than the earlier recording. Okay, you can find me at on Twitter and on Instagram at David E. Soto Jr., JR for Jr., at David E. Soto Jr. Please check out my, if you're interested in my just before bed journal. I did that again. In an earlier recording, I didn't say the title of my own goddamn book right. And I caught myself. And then I did it again just now. Just before bed journal. It's a journal that I created because it's the habits that I do before bed every night. I jot down 5 things in 5 different categories. One of those things is gratitude. And if you listen to episode 58, I believe, I talked about The Tribe of Mentors by Tim Ferriss and the many things that successful people do as part of their ritual or their tools that they use. And one of them is a lot of them, although it didn't make my list, a lot of them talked about writing down or expressing or showing gratitude. This is nothing new for me. I've been doing it for years, and I would write everything down just in a little miniature a miniature spiral notebook. And then eventually I created the Just Before Bed journal so that I would have places to write these things down. Also, there's some of my writings on each page for each day. It's a 30-day journal. I highly recommend it. I created it for myself, but why not share it with the world? Anyways, folks, I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you next time.